Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Algorand. This is going to be mainly focusing on the bullish bias here towards the coin, although we need to just be aware that we are encountering resistance here at quite an important zone that we have previously had a lot of resistance and support. As we can see, this is a very important area here. We had resistance over here, support over here for quite a long period again, moved through, retested it as resistance, and then saw price look to continue to the downside. Now we are retesting this area once again here. So there's a couple of things that we need to be aware of. If we start to see this break down in 5 waves, it could be that this move is just a corrective structure, but if we fail to move back above this high, we need to just be aware that there is still a count available, which we're going to go over towards the end of the video, where we could look to actually break down past these lows again. So this is something that I'm just going to be keeping an eye on here as we see price looking to move through these zones. Now we're going to focus in here on the bullish count here, and this is actually based off of actually looking at this whole move to the downside in 2 ways on the macro. And we were talking about this once we were towards the lower end of this region here, because what we were saying is that this could be a 5-wave move completed, and we were looking primarily for the zone of this 1377 to this 1083, but we went a little bit lower here and hit this 0.382 towards this 990 zone. This is another target for the 5th wave. So with this in mind, we were looking for this. Now there was another way we were also talking about this possibly playing out, where this could be W, X, and Y, which is fine. This is another way of looking at it, treating this as just an A, B, C pattern to the downside, in which case we fall right into this zone of this 121 to this 1236. So what does this mean? Well, if this is a completed correction to this bottom point here, we wouldn't expect to break this low again. Now, if we are looking at that bullish count, what we would want to start to see here is an impulse to the upside. The impulse would have to maintain this low of this 0.820, and what we'd want to see here is price starting to move up in another 5-wave move, where we get something like this, looking to push us up towards this 92-cent region. If we fail to actually push up from this zone and we start to break down, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this lower area here of this 382 to the 786 to see if we can find support again in this region. The way that we'd actually count this move to the downside, if this is not a wave 2 completed, which would say that this wave 2 is actually still in play here, would be looking at this move in this way. Now, what we'd be saying here is that this could then be something like a flat correction here, where we see this as an A wave here. We have this as our bigger B wave to the upside, and then we start to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. Now, the common target area would be this 1, 2, 3, 6 to this 1, 6, 1, 8 down here. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. If we start to falter at these highs and start to take out some of these key lows that we've got here within the secondary bullish count. Now, this would make this count a lot neater if we saw a retracement in this way, because then it would just clean up some of these internals that we've got over here. But we're going to go over the idea that maybe the wave 2 is already completed over here, and what we are looking for is this move towards this 92 cents. If we see this, the most common target area would be looking for this 146 to this 111, but we'd have to watch the internals of this, because if we're moving up directly here, we could actually see this 1.618 get taken out, and we could look higher up towards the 2.618. We'll look at that if we start to get more evidence that this is starting to play out in this way. So we're going to come in here and look at some of the lower time frame counts of this move to the upside, if we wanted to say that this wave 2 was actually completed over here. Now, the first way that we're going to look at this is that effectively we are forming another wave 1 here. So what this would mean is that we have this wave 1 over here, and we have the second wave 1 over here, which is forming. So this would mean that we see this move up like this, we get 3 waves back to the downside, and then we look to move to the upside afterwards. Now, within this idea, we'd say that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and that actually we have an expanding ending diagonal over here to complete. Now, this would be saying that this is ABC up, ABC down, ABC up, ABC down, ABC up. The problem we have is counting this move here as a ABC. You'd have to then say that basically this is just A, B, and C like this, potentially completed into this high. If this is the case, what we'd expect to see is price starting to fall back to the downside here, looking for lower targets. I'm actually going to throw this 0.382 back on here, because this is going to be an interesting zone as a retest of some of these highs here. So if we move down into the 0.221 region, I'm going to be keeping an eye on the idea that, you know, we could start to see a reversal from that point, particularly with wave 3s. They don't always go as deep. Now, with this idea, we'd say that we complete this move, we get a retracement, and then we'd be looking for this 1.618 to the upside here, which would be looking towards this zone of this 05538. Now this would mean that we'd have to actually push up a little bit higher to hit this 0.9228, which is our common target area for this wave 3. It doesn't have to hit this, but just for more confirmation, it does help if we actually hit that target. So this would be looking at this wave 3 starting to develop from here, but the internals are not great because this expanding diagonal here is not as common as some of the other structures. So we'd need to see this low hold of this 1486. If we hold this 1486, we could then see this push to the upside, though I wouldn't be expecting us to move as deep as that, but we'd have to monitor how the internals of the waves start to play out if that is the case. So now we're going to look at another option here, and I'm actually going to come into the 1 hourly time frame here, and we're going to just get a bit closer to this move here. Now it is possible that this wave could actually be directly extending out here, and what this would mean is that effectively we're going to get some extensions within these waves where we're not going to actually cross back below this zone of this 20 cents again, and we're going to see price looking to explode to the upside. Now what we'd be saying here internally is that we have this as 1 2 3 4 5, and actually we complete over here, and instead of getting this idea of an expanding diagonal here, what we have is that this is our wave 1. We have a very small retracement here, we have another wave 1 2, and this would actually be our third wave 1 2 starting to develop here. Now the idea with this would then be that we've actually completed this blue wave 1 into this high, and we'd be looking for just a 3-wave structure back to the downside. Now if we are looking at a rejection area, we've actually entered this zone already, 786 to this 50%. Now, if we start to break down in 5-wave structure and we look to push down, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this area here of this 121 to this 1236, which is aligning quite nicely with this 0.382 of this 2487. If we see a 5-wave move down into this area and we start to see 5-wave structure developing back to the upside, this would give us more evidence that this is actually what is in play. Now, the idea here would be that this move needs to then extend out. Now, this is, like I said, looking for extension within these waves. What we then need to see is that this would need to find support here and then push to the upside here. Now, if we move down to this 0.382, the target would be this 0.4553. And then we'd be looking for further evidence of a 4th and a 5th. And this would then mean that all of this is within this yellow count here. Now, wherever this blue count finishes, we would be expecting an additional 4th and a 5th, and then finally one more 4th and a 5th to the upside. As you can see here, I've just worked off of this 3.618. We do have some key levels here of this wave 1. 2.618 is sitting here at this 48.10, 3.618 sitting here towards the 68.29. And then the 4.618 is sitting here towards us 96 cent 97. Once again, with this idea, this would then be all looking for further evidence that we are in this wave 3, which our common target area for this wave 3 is actually at this 92 cents 28. So this is going to give us more confirmation that we're in an impulse, but we still need to see that additional 4th and 5th after this, which could be looking to push us up towards this $1.46 to this $1.11 area. So this is why we are looking for this potential of this impulse to continue here, because there are some big gains that could be had here. If we looked from where we currently are over here, this would be a 235% move to the upside here to this 1.618, and about a 432% move to the top end of this. Now, obviously from this low, this is now magnified even further. This is about a 15x on the move. So this is why it's going to be important to see whether this continues to hold structure here, or whether we actually start to break to the downside. If we do see that other idea here where this is an A, B, and a C, and we continue to hold this key support zone, this is going to be a very important area that we could potentially look to pick up some cheap algo before seeing the continuation to the upside here in this bigger move. So this is why we are looking out for this. Now, as I said earlier in the video, we need to just be aware of the bearish scenario here, and particularly if we get this flat correction to the downside developing. Now, another way that we can look at this is that this move down could be WXYX, and we could still be looking for a Z wave here. Our 1-to-1 would be here towards 0.268. The 0.618 would be here at this 0.661. And what we'd then be saying here is that we're still anticipating another 3-wave move to the downside. And the way that this would happen would then potentially be starting with a flat correction. We could then get a 3-wave move back to the upside here, and then another 3-wave move to the downside. Targets would be in this area here, like I said, 0.618 and this 1-to-1 area, so going to be keeping an eye on those. Now, within this idea, what we'd be saying is that this X wave is potentially completed already, and we're looking to break down in the Z wave. We would say that this move has just played out as a corrective move up here, A, B, and C, looking at this internal bit here as a triangle, and that we are looking to break down from this point. If, however, we get a flat correction here, it is still possible that we could still see another push up, but not be in the impulse. So this is why we're going to need to see those key targets get hit for further confirmation. If we just saw something like this, where this is a B, and a C to the upside, and we only moved up towards this 50-cent region, we need to be very careful of the idea that this could still look to break down or just be moving up correctively, which is not really what we want. We want to see nice, clean, impulsive movements to the upside for further clarity that we're starting to be in a bullish pattern here with Algo. Once again, we'd be looking at the idea here of breaking it down in a ABC pattern. If we continue to fail to break through this 3101 region, if however we do continue to push up here, this would start to invalidate this idea of looking for the flat, and would then potentially mean that the bullish count is rather in play. If however we start to break down here, and we start to see price looking to fall down towards this zone of this 1236 to this 1618 area, which would align quite nicely with a retest of the center of this channel, I'm going to be watching the next move to the upside. If we just get 3 waves like this, and we continue to find a rejection in the 786 to this 50% level, this could then align with actually seeing price looking to continue to fall off to the downside. And if we just actually throw a projection onto this, off of there into there, that 1-to-1 would be towards this 0805 to this 0661, which if we overlay this would actually push us into that zone of that 0.618. So this is going to be important, looking to move to the downside here. If we fail to hold these key lows here on the bullish extension, we could start to see price looking to fall off. Coming in here and having a look at the daily CPR lines here, what we can see is that we have been printing continuously higher CPR lines until today. We do have a slightly lower one, and it is very tightly spread, which is indicative of volatility. Now, within this idea here, if we stay above these central lines here, we have the potential to see price look to move up towards this 28.25, 29.39, 30.58, and this 31.70. If, however, we start to lose these central lines, sitting between this 27.12 and this 26.92, I would be looking out for the possibility of seeing price come back down towards this 25.90. Other targets would be 24.70, 23.54, and this 22.29. Now, if we do see price looking to push down into this zone, and we do look at some of these target areas, we can see here within that idea of this extending out, the 0.3H2 is sitting right in this area where we're looking for this much smaller wave 2. So going to be keeping an eye on this zone towards this 24.87, because there is this alignment here with this S2 line that we've got. Now, if we now switch this over into the weekly, what we can see is that we're currently below our R1 target. We can see here that we moved down towards our S1, moved through these CPR lines, came up and hit this target. Now, if we do see price looking to break back to the downside here, going to be keeping an eye on these central lines, which are sitting towards this 24.22, 23.30, and this 22.45. If we do see price looking to retest these and then look to move back to the upside, targets would be this 29.79 and this 34.09. If, however, we see these levels start to fail, I will be looking out for the potential of seeing price move towards 21.03, 16.81, and this 14.37, though we will get new CPI lines on Monday, so these will only be valid till Sunday evening. If we do move over here to the monthly pivot points, what we can see is that we moved into the central line over here, and we saw price look to move back to the upside. So we've already hit our R2 target for this month. We do still have an R3 target sitting towards this 32.20. If we do start to see a bigger trending move, we can sometimes see these levels just be moved through, so we need to just keep an eye on them. But yeah, we can actually break these, so we need to just be aware of that. If, however, we start to see price looking to break down in a bigger way, going to be looking at this 20.50 to this 19.28 as a possible support zone. Alternatively, other targets to the downside, should we start to lose that area, would be 16.70, 12.23 and this lower area here of this 9 cents. So that would align more with that much more bearish scenario if we do look to break down. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on the bell notification so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.